Hello and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth, and I am always pleased to have you listening to me talk. What do you say we just get into it? Starting with the news, Masataka Yoshida has begun a rehab assignment as he looks to return from his extended absence on the IL. He's also taking grounders at first base, which is an interesting development, as we know that is something the Red Sox have been searching for. However, Alex Cora said he does not foresee him making starts at first base. He's just taking some grounders in case they need him there, I guess. But Yoshida is on his way back from the shoulder problems that have ailed him all season. Salvador Perez for the Royals dealing with some calf tightness. He is still playing through it, though, still in the lineup. He's been DHing with caution in mind, though the Royals have optioned Drew Waters to AAA and selected the contract of Luke Maile. And Maile would just serve as Freddie Fermin's backup if needed, if Perez is going to have to hit the IL. The A's have reinstated Zach Geloff from the IL. He replaces Luis Arias on that roster, who's on the 10-day IL. They released TJ McFarland in order to make room on the roster. This is kind of the infield we were envisioning for the Athletics. Jacob Wilson, Max Muncy, Nick Kurtz, and Zach Geloff. I mean, Tyler Soderstrom also thrown in there. He's more outfield now, but it's good to see it all falling into place. Geloff went 0 for 3 with a walk in his return to action, but good to see him back. He was working his way back from a hamate injury and then had a road bump in his rehab assignment, but he is now back with the Athletics. Rowdy Tellez signed a minor league deal with the Rangers after the Mariners released him last week. He adds some pop. He adds some pop against righties to that Rangers lineup potentially. Again, it's a minor league deal. He will be in the minors unless he hits well enough and they decide to select his contract. The Rockies have outrighted Sam Hilliard, who was DFA'd earlier in the week. This is to make room for Ryan Feltner to be returning from the IL. And, you know, it's a Rockies pitcher. So if you're interested in Ryan Feltner, there you go. He's back. But for fantasy purposes, Rockies pitcher is not exactly the avenue that we like to travel. Evan Carter returns from the bereavement list, and the Rangers DFA Billy McKinney. Carter went 1 for 3 with a pair of stolen bases in his return from the bereavement list. And I'll tell you what, he's been better at the big league level than at least I was anticipating, which is awesome to see. Hopefully he's getting back into form a little bit. The Blue Jays have selected Lazaro Estrada, who's likely to work out of the bullpen at most, receive a spot start. Anthony Santander transferred to the 60-day IL, and Justin Bruihl was optioned in order to make room for this move. The White Sox have DFA'd Vinny Capra to make room for top prospect Colson Montgomery, who they promoted to the big league level. And Montgomery went 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout. He did make a really nice defensive play, however, at shortstop. Clark Schmidt heads to the 15-day IL with forearm tightness for the Yankees. Clayton Beeter was also optioned, so they're shaking things up in their pitching. They recall Scott Efros and Javian Sandridge. Jamison Tyone heads to the 15-day IL for the Cubs. Jordan Wicks has been recalled. It was said that Wicks is not likely to be an option for the rotation. That's going to be Chris Flexen. However, Wicks was on the IL in the minors, and he's returned in really good form. He's hitting mid-90s with his fastball. He's posted good strikeout numbers, has not been giving up a lot of runs. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can bully his way into some starts, because he was one of their top prospects. Hasn't looked great at the major league level, but looks better than he has, in my opinion, since he returned from the IL. And finally, the Nats make a flurry of moves. Trevor Williams heads to the IL. Ryan Lotus, reliever, has been recalled. The big one, Keibert Ruiz, returns from the 7-day concussion IL. Drew Milas being sent down to AAA, but Keibert Ruiz is back in that Nats lineup. Time to get into some hitting highlights. The Astros put up 18 runs against the Dodgers on the strength of, lots of home runs. Isaac Paredes hit his 18th homer of the year. Jose Altuve had a pair of bombs and a double. He's up to 15 home runs on the year. Christian Walker hit his 11th. Victor Caratini hit his 8th home run and added a pair of doubles. So quite a bit going on there. Edgar Quero, He's been great this year for the White Sox, at least solid, hitting 273, but he hasn't really hit for any power. No home runs. That was until yesterday's games. He hit his first career home run off Antonio Senzatella. You gotta love Coors. I mean, Edgar Carroll's not going to have the most power in the world, but expected some, and I guess he found some in Coors, as many do. Jordan Westberg collected 3 hits, including his 8th home run of the year. This was the first time that he's played since June 27th. Injuries have been an issue for him, but a good return as he, again, collects 3 hits and hits a home run. He's been good when on the field, but being on the field is just something that he has not quite been able to do. Zach McKinstry continues to be interesting for the Tigers. This is his best season of his career by far. He hit his 6th home run in yesterday's games. He's hitting 289 on the year. And again, it's not the most fantasy productive season that you want to see. He does have a bunch of steals as well. I think he's in double digits, but he plays so many positions, and that is just so interesting when it comes to fantasy and what he can do to help your lineup, especially when he's hitting like this. If you play in an average league, he's somebody who is just helpful. I mean, I play in super deep dynasty leagues, so obviously McKinstry is rostered and helpful, but in redraft leagues too, if he can play all those positions and be productive, I mean, I don't know, 289, 6 home runs now, and some steals. If you're looking for somebody just to play super util and fill off your bench, he's certainly a guy you want to look at. Joe Adell collected 2 hits for the Angels, 3 RBIs. It was a home run and a double. And don't look now, but Joe Adell is hitting 312 with 12 home runs over his last 30 games. And he has been very productive. The strikeouts are absolutely still there. That's just ingrained and part of his game. But when he's hitting the ball, the productivity has absolutely been there. It's just great to see from Joe Adell, especially if you're looking for power. And again, he's hitting the ball hard and it's working for him. Ha-Sung Kim made his return, his debut, rather, for the Rays. Went 1 for 3 with a single and a stolen base. So nothing huge to write home about, but he is back in that lineup, and that's definitely good. Harrison Bader went deep twice for the Twins. He's up to 9 home runs on the year. More interesting for me in that Twins lineup is Royce Lewis, because that's a guy who I've been trying to buy low on, honestly. He was not hitting well at all early in the year. Seemed like he was starting to come around, starting to figure it out. And then, as Royce Lewis does, he went down to injury once again. But he's been pretty good lately. This includes prior to the most recent injury, but he's hitting 311 over his last 15 games. The power is not fully returned. He's only got 1 home run in that span, but he's getting his bat to the ball, and he's, not hitting the 100 that he was earlier, in the year. Since returning from the IL for his most recent trip, he's hitting 273 with a double. That's been 4 games. But if he's hitting the ball, things can maybe start to happen. Hopefully his power is not completely zapped. This isn't the Royce Lewis that we all thought we were going to get, but it's been a slow walk. And if you bought low, he may be finding his swing again, maybe turning a corner. I don't know, but it's certainly something I'm watching very closely. Vinny Pasquantino went yard twice, bringing him to 14 on the year. And a lot of guys just hit multiple home runs. We're going to get into some more of them right now. Cal Raleigh for the Mariners continues to be just not a human being that lives on this planet. He hit 2 bombs, bringing him to 35 on the year. That is insane. Dylan Moore also hit his 9th home run. Randy Arozarena hit one. It was his 13th. And I'll tell you what, he's hitting 310 with 6 home runs and 6 steals over the last 30 games. So for the last month or so, Randy Arozarena has been, it seems like in the shadow of Cal Raleigh, honestly, hitting all his bombs. But he's been very good over the last month or so, and it's just kind of gone under the radar because Cal Raleigh's hitting a home run every at bat or every other at bat or whatever that pace is. It's insane. Aaron Judge went yard, 32nd of the year. Outshined, though, by Jason Dominguez, the Martian, who went deep twice. And Dominguez is now hitting 417 with 4 steals and a pair of bombs, obviously both in the game yesterday, over the last 15 games. So not a whole lot of power. I mean, you're not going to take the power from one game and say he's hitting home runs, but he has been very productive, at least in terms of hitting the baseball. Juan Soto with a 3-hit effort, including a home run. I know that he got off to a slow start, and oh my gosh, that big contract. He's hitting 333 with 11 home runs over his last 30 games. He also has 27 walks. That's 27 walks in 30 games. And if you're wondering, yes, That is more than him, more than he struck out. 23 strikeouts over that span. So 27 walks, 23 strikeouts, and Juan Soto doing Juan Soto things. The Cubs had their own mini home run derby, previewing what is to come later this month. They hit 8 home runs against the Cardinals, 6 of them coming off of Miles Michaelis. Michael Busch had 3 of them just by himself, and that's the third time I saw this stat. The stat was wild. That's the third time that a Cub has hit 3 home runs off the Cardinals, and all 3 times have been on July 4th. That is insane. I can't remember the other 2 players, but just an insane, weird baseball stat. Anyway, Michael Busch had 3 home runs. Pete Crow Armstrong had 2 because why wouldn't he? Seiya Suzuki, Carson Kelly, and Dansby Swanson all hit 1 as well. Rounding out our hitting, the A's put up 11 runs on the Giants. Denzel Clark, my guy, I will promote him until my face turns blue. He hit his 3rd home run of the year and added a triple. He went 2 for 4. He's only hitting 200. Obviously, strikeouts still an issue, but good to see him starting to impact the baseball a little bit more and use his speed as he can. Nick Kurtz also hit his 13th home run. He's been fantastic. Taking a look at some of the starting pitching from yesterday's games, Lance McCullers Jr. turned in a solid start against the Dodgers, going 6 innings, giving up 1 earned run, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. It was a good bounce back from giving up 8 earned runs against the Cubs last time out. And it kind of seems he either gets tagged quite a bit or he can turn in a solid performance. This one was the latter, which is good. Adrian Hauser, I mentioned how just great he's been for the White Sox. Another good outing. He did give up 2 runs. Both were unearned. So 0 earned runs if you're counting fantasy. And he struck out 6 over 8 innings of work against the Rockies. This lowers his season ERA to a 1.60. That's right, 1.60. That is crazy. He's been a bright spot in that White Sox rotation. Charlie Morton struck out 7, gave up 2 earned runs over 5 1/3 innings. This included throwing the highest spin curveball of his career since tracking began in 2015. So ageless wonder, I guess. Still getting great spin on that curveball. Reese Olson, talked a little in depth about him yesterday, but he returned to action, returned from the IL, went 4 1/3 innings, strikes out 3, and gave up 1 earned run. It was on a solo shot to known Tiger killer Jose Ramirez, who isn't just a Tiger killer. He's a phenomenal player who, terrorizes all opposing teams, but just seems like he always does something against the Tigers. This one was the solo shot off of Reese Olson. Zach Littell for the Rays went 6 innings, struck out 5, gave up 1 earned run. Chris Paddock, who had a stretch of just solid starts, ran into some trouble recently, but Paddock went 5 innings, gave up a pair of runs, and struck out 5 against the Rays. A few more pitchers to talk about here. Brian Wu, 6 shutout innings, struck out 8 against the Pirates. He now owns a 2.77 ERA on the season, and Brian Wu, just fantastic this year. I think this is more what I thought Bryce Miller would be doing. Bryce Miller, of course, battling injuries. Hopefully he can get himself right, but Brian Wu, great investment if you were able to get him. Lucas Giolito struck out 7 against the Nationals across 7 2/3 innings of 1-run ball. If memory serves, he had a really rough outing his first time out, but over his last 7, he owns a 2.54 ERA with 35 strikeouts in 39 innings. So he's been very solid as of late for the Red Sox. Did want to mention Guardians recently promoted Doug Nikhazy among their flurry of needing to swap out their pitching. Nikhazy was a starter when they called him up the first time earlier this year, and he got absolutely shelled. They have him working as a reliever now. He threw a perfect inning and struck out 2. And I think that's probably the avenue they're going to want to go with him. His fastball is, it averages below 90. It's like 89, 90 generally. So not a guy that you'd be super interested in fantasy, but interesting to see they're using him out of the bullpen. And it seemed to work, at least in this very small, very, very small 1 inning sample size. But just wanted to mention it as he did just come up. With that, we're going to take a quick timeout right now. When we come back, there's going to be a few pitchers that I mentioned here going in today's games. That's coming up. Once again, my name is Trevor Hooth, and this is the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. Glad to have you with me. We've talked news, we've talked hitting, we've talked pitching. Now, let's talk a little bit more pitching. This is Pitcher List after all. Let's see what we got coming up today. A few starters I want to mention. Uh, Max Scherzer being the first. Now, Scherzer's going to be making his fourth start of the season, but he's got a good matchup. He's drawing the Angels. He performed well last time out against the Yankees, gave up a couple runs, got a good amount of strikeouts. So this should be a good matchup for him. If he's available in your leagues, probably a good streaming option. If the recent pattern is going to hold true, Taj Bradley is going to be really good in today's games. And this was just shocking to me. I just wanted to mention the pattern more than anything. If you look at his June starts, and I'm going to go in order from June 1st all the way to the end of the month. Here are the earned runs that he allowed: 0, 7, 0, 6, 5. And that 5 earned runs was his last time out. So, based solely on this pattern, which is very scientific, he should not give up a run in his outing later today. He's against the Twins, and if you want to look at history this year, he did face the Twins back in May, where he gave up 2 earned runs and struck out 6 over 7 innings. So Taj Bradley, a headache for sure, based on what he did in June, but it seems like he may do well against the Twins just based on the pattern, and he did pretty well against them earlier in the year. After getting tagged for 6 earned runs by the Pirates last time out, Frankie Montas is going to look to bounce back. This is going to be his third start of the season. He did well against the Braves, did not do well against the Pirates, and now he has a tough draw against the Yankees, but we'll see what he can do. I'm just interested to see how he bounces back. He kept it, as I mentioned, he kept Atlanta in check. He's up against Rodon and the Yankees, so it's a tough draw, but certainly one that he could be successful in. And finally, the matchup of the day, it's going to be the Dodgers and the Astros. It's a cop-out just because it's always exciting. Shohei Ohtani is on the mound versus Framber Valdez. Ohtani doubled his average innings and went 2 in his last outing. I imagine he'll go about 2 again, more pitch count than anything, but I imagine he'll go about 2 again, and then we'll have somebody else in. Framber Valdez has been very good this year, so should be a fun one, at least for a couple innings while Ohtani's in there, and then we'll see what the Dodgers decide to do after that. But Ohtani versus Framber Valdez, I'm going to pick that one as my matchup of the day. That's what we got. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. Hopefully you all had a wonderful 4th of July yesterday. Once again, my name is Trevor Hooth, and I want to remind you to check out pitcherlist.com for all the fantastic content, the top 100 pitchers, the top 100 hitters, and of course the reliever lists that people work so hard on, and all the great written content. I know personally I just helped out the Dynasty team and came out with the top 10 prospects for all of the AL West teams. So, again, great content coming out, and make sure to check that out. Make sure to join PL Pro so you can talk with us in the Discord as well. Lots of great minds talking baseball constantly in there. With that, I appreciate you joining me. This has been another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.